Everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to show you how to do something really cool with World of Warcraft and an iPad. Using a few add-ons and Duet Display, I've been able to create something akin to a Nintendo 3DS or Wii U-like setup, where basically two screens can be utilized to reduce on-screen clutter and to also enhance the game. It can improve your access to information as well. For an example, having the world map be active 100% of the time, which is really, really nice for navigation, and is actually something that was used quite well in some of the initial Wii U ports of games like Arkham City and Deus Ex Human Revolution, where if you want to look at the map, you just look at the map. You don't have to, go through a bunch of buttons or menus. Now, before I run you through how to do this and do a tutorial, I'm first just going to do a quick walkthrough of what this is like in action. Okay then, time for the walkthrough part of the video. Now this one is rather awkward to do because I've actually got no way of recording both screens at once, so I'm just sat over to the left of this monitor, so it'll be a little bit awkward to record, but I can use this to show you just about everything that's going on here. So you'll notice we've got two different displays. Here's display 1 that you can see my character on, so that's all going grand. But then down below we have this second display. If I throw the map up, boom, we can see this is where the map is. Now this is kind of cool because I can actually, if I want to, fly around the world, well, the map is there. I can use it all the time. And it's, just pretty damn handy for traveling around the place in general. If we look beside the map, we can see the objective panel. Now this is fine. I don't like the Blizzard objective window by default at all, really, so I'm probably going to look to see if I can replace that with something. We can see the minimap is down here, which is pretty nifty. We've then got my damage done. I'll just make this pop-up go away. So damage done sitting there. As it turns out, I need to move that panel. But anyway, that's fine. So damage done is over here. And then my chat's over here. So, if I want to talk to people, that's all going down pretty much on the iPad, which keeps up here completely free from clutter. Now, let's just go and attack a target dummy. So if we look at the details down here, you can see there's a little, I think I forgot to move my pet window, whoops. But if you look down at details, all my damage is going on just fine. And that can be pretty handy. Now, I know with details, as an example, a lot of people like to have some graphs up and things like that. Well, you could put all of those, here's my hand, you could put all of those here. Now, if I bring up, say, my character panel, it's there. If I bring up collections, it's there, so I can look at my heirlooms and stuff. All these windows are slightly different sizes, so there's a little bit of clipping there, but you know what, that's all kind of fine by me. Now, as an example, just to show you how easy it sort of is to set up once you have it working, if I wanted to have the talking head frame, so that quest talking head frame was appearing down here earlier on in the video, well, if I wanted that to appear over here for some reason, there we go. Problem solved. I can now get rid of the mover, hop back in my mount, and what you'll actually see is, it will have moved over here, which, I guess, more immersive, whatever. Basically, the idea is that it keeps this top screen being really nice and sort of free of clutter and stuff like that, which I really like the idea of. And I suppose it's also just a cool proof of concept. It's one of those things where it's like, well, why would you do this? And honestly, part of the reason is because I can, and it's fun, and really that's pretty much all there is to it. But there you go. This is pretty much just a walkthrough of what's actually working at the minute. Okay, time for the tutorial. Okay, time for the walkthrough part of the video. I did this with a 12-inch iPad Pro, but it would work with other devices as well. I was on the Apple side of the aisle, but I'm sure there are solutions that will work with Android tablets and stuff like that. The basic idea here, though, is just that we're using the iPad as an extra display. So I used an application called Duet Display to do that. So I installed the Duet Windows program, then the iPad app, connected my iPad to the PC using its USB cable. Now, with all that done, I just configured Duet's app's settings, and we were good to go. As far as Windows was concerned, we just connected another monitor, just like, anything that you put into the back of your graphics card. Once that was done, I just positioned the window where I wanted it using Windows display settings, and then I fired up World of Warcraft. Of course, I put WoW into windowed mode, and then I just dragged World of Warcraft's window down so that it filled both monitors. Things probably look super strange for you right now. In my case, I had the iPad and a 3440 by 1440 monitor. Now, when you include the iPad's resolution and all that, it was like a 3440 by like 3000 or whatever, massive rectangle which just confused World of Warcraft scaling. It put UI elements off the screen. And that's where Leatrix Plus comes in. I installed this add-on via Curse, and then I enabled its viewport functionality. This basically crops a part of the World of Warcraft the part of the WoW window where the game is rendered, so I set the crop to 50%, which meant that the game world was limited to my main monitor, and the iPad below it was left as a black screen. While the game world isn't on the iPad, we are still able to put UI elements there, so I did some tests with an add-on called Move Anything. I found that worked, I found a nice setup was achievable, so I did some sketches, and then I fired up an add-on called KG Panels. So I made some simple panels for the layout, and then using Move Anything, I positioned various parts of the World of Warcraft UI sort of down into my panel so that it all looked nice. Now ideally I would have done something with Photoshop, but graphic design is not my thing. Sometime in the future I might work with a UX designer to make a more polished version of this, but for now it's just a proof of concept. I then installed Aurora to reskin some of the panels, and basically that's it. Now you'll probably notice that there are still some issues. The scaling of tooltips is way off by default, same goes for combat text, you can't deal with that with add-ons. Even with the viewport, the game still treats it basically as if you're operating on this humongous monitor, so just its scaling and stuff is a little bit confused. But still, you can get it to work out so that it's very playable. So really, that's as far as this experiment has went. My goal was to clean up most of the UI, perhaps increase usability, while also making the game feel a bit more immersive by consolidating the UI out of the game world. It's basically just thinking about how some Wii U game ports worked, and, sort of like having a control console and meshing all that together and chucking it into World of Warcraft. I decided against having gameplay-related stuff on that monitor. I think looking at another display to check your cooldowns would be really negative for the gameplay, but I think it's really nice for things like the map and UI elements. Now that said, I would be interested in experimenting on getting, maybe health bars or something down on the iPad. I'd love to see what would be possible as well using a phone to perhaps enhance the game's UI. Not really sure how, phones aren't massive, but it would be a novel enough thing, certainly, if it actually worked. For now, though, I'm going to expand this concept into my video making. Cleaning up the UI makes it easier to capture visually pleasing footage, and having what's basically like a touch-enabled control console could be really useful for making like custom camera macros, and then using that to make like more cinematic in-game footage, which is something that I might be experimenting with in the future. Then finally for this video, I just want to thank the people on Patreon. Their support has allowed me to bring on a video editor, which has freed up my own time to work on more interesting, unique projects like this one that are a bit more different and out there. So if you'd like to support content like this with $1 or $2 a month, then you can check out the Patreon page. There's some rewards over there, but regardless of that, thank you to everyone who's watched this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I hope this encourages you to jump off with your own experimentation and perhaps try out some cool things. I'm really keen to see if anyone does anything with this. But that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.